What we're going to do is we're going to add the text on the left over here in the image, and what we want to do is try to get it as close to this style as possible. Now we can do this in two ways. We can group the text together inside of a div tag so that everything will move together inside of a box. So if you see this like green box up here, in theory what we could do is we could encapsulate it into a div tag, and then we can move both of them together. Does that make sense? Or what we could do is we can give each of these a tag individually and move them individually. Either way works. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to encapsulate both of these in a div tag, and then I'm going to give this an H1, and I'm going to give this a P, and then I will select those and modify those independently, but I'll move the div tag to the position that I want, so it's equivalent to what this box is, this green box. So in our Dreamweaver file, we want to go into our header, and then right before the closing of our header, so right here, right before the closing of our header, because we want everything to still be in our header, right? So before the closing of our header, we're going to create a div tag, and this div tag is essentially going to be a box, and we'll just call this ID, and we'll just call it title. And we have to close that div tag.
You said it's before the header?
Before the closing header. So see how it says section, open section, closing header?
Yeah.
You want to do it right before that. So this div is essentially this green box. That's the way you should think of it. It's just a box. Nothing's in it right now. And we're going to position this box so it's at the bottom left, and then our text will move with it. All right?
Can I see the ID?
Yeah. So now inside of this box, we're going to have an H1 tag. This H1 tag is going to say Engen. And then we're going to close that. And then down here, let's give this an H2. And then I think sticky notes was all, I'll see, I think it was all lowercase. No, initial cap. So the reason we're doing this is so this way we can use this box to position both of these, and then we will change the style to both of these separately. You could just position the H1 and the H2 tag without this outer box if you wanted to. This is just a different approach to doing it. So we have our div tag, which is that box. It's got an ID of title. We have H1 for Engen, which is going to be a little bit bigger than our H2 for sticky notes. And it's all within this header tag. Okay. So we're going to go to our CSS designer. Right now our text is just up here. Right here and right here. We're going to go to our CSS designer and we're going to create in our external style sheet. So I'm selecting the external style sheet. I'm going to click the plus sign and I'm going to type in title, # title, because it's an ID, # title. I'm going to go to the text icon and I'm going to change the color to white, because that will be the same for all the text in here. So you can see as soon as I did that, both the text fields turned white. I'm going to go back to my layout. I'll define a width, and this width, I'm going to just make it, let's make it around 350. We'll do 360. Actually, let's do 380 just to give it a little bit more. So this is 450 by 240. So let's try those and see what happens. Let's try 450 by 290. Yeah. What do you have?
Why do you think I'm
Click on the background. And
You didn't close your H tag properly. Your H2, you got H dash here. Where? Right in H2, where you go. That's not right. Oh, shit.
where's that color coming from? Oh. This is, what is this one? 100% 50. Was this supposed to be for container? Do you have a container? No, I need container. Alright, I'm not sure why that did. That should do it though. Uncheck show, so you're, yeah.
This is really awesome. When we put it live, there's like your text is down here.
Let's take a look at it. Oh, because that's your head, not your header. So you
Oh, okay.
wanna cut from 83 from line down. You wanna cut from 83 to 87. And then you wanna go down to header. Yeah. Oh yeah, you have hang and sticky right there, so select that, replace it. Oh, you have header selected.
And then just do the div.
Paste, yeah. You can paste it if you cut it. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set the position of this to absolute. And now what we can do is we can use this positioning. So we know we want it to be at the bottom left. So we can do bottom maybe 5 pixels. And then left maybe 5 pixels. And you can see that they're being positioned automatically. We can then also center align. So under text, text align, we can do a center align. So our title div tag now has a width of 450, height of 290, a position of absolute, a left of 5 pixels, and a bottom 5 pixels. We have white, and then we have the text center aligned. So what that did is the div tag moved. See this box right here? That's the encapsulation of our text, and we're moving the text together. Basically, we're just moving this box. Now what we're going to do is we're going to modify this and this style. So if you click on the H1 and then you click on Add Selector, you should get header # title H1, and you can just use the up arrow. What you really want is to say inside of the title div tag, do this to the H1, and that will modify your H1. So with # title space H1, we'll go to font size, and we'll play with the overall font size. Now what I'd like you to do is the same thing, but I'd like you to do it for the H2 tag, and I'd like you to make this H2 bigger as well. So try to do it on your own. Alright, so what you should have done is just clicked on the H2, added the selector, and the selector would be # title space H2, right? So we're trying to influence the H2 tag that's located inside of the title. And then I'll go to font size, and I'll modify the font size. Now here's the cool thing. I can take this, and inside of the box I can go into my margin, and I can do a minus in my top margin to scoot it up a little bit. So I'm on that H2 tag, and I can, just to bring it up a little bit tighter, I can use a minus top margin to scoot it up. Now, for both of these, I want these to be a different style font. I want them to be a custom font. And I want the same font for both H1 and H2. So if I wanted to modify the font family, where would I modify it? Would I modify it in the H1, H2, or in the title? What? Title, right? Because then it'll influence everything inside of it. So what I'd like you to do is go into title, go to font family, and just pick any font family you think is good in the Adobe toolkit. Don't pick a default. You have to go to the toolkit and pick one out that you feel might go well with this. So you're going to go to title, go to your text, go to font family, and then manage fonts, and then you're going to pick a font that you think goes good with the Engen sticky. So remember, once you've found it, you have to actually apply it by selecting it. So why might you want to do it like this versus making it an image?
You can change it.
So you can change it, and there's one other really big reason. What? For search engine optimization, right? So search engines scan your website, and if it's an image, it doesn't read the text in the image, right? So what you want to do is make sure that like Engen and sticky notes is everywhere on your page. So this way, when the spiders come and they go over or comb over your website, they see Engen sticky, and then your probability for search results goes up. So you want to try to make text as much as possible on your site for the reason of editability, so to be able to edit real quick, and then for search engines. Okay. So I think the last thing we have to do is the navigation, and then we're done. So with our navigation, we're going to create a bullet list. I think we've done this for one of the other ones. We're going to create a bullet list. We're going to put them all next to each other, and then get rid of the text decorations, create rollovers for them. Okay? So up here in our nav, I'm just going to go to design view right now. I'm going to put my cursor after the Engen sticky notes logo. Let's do a file save all just in case things go bad. Not that they will. Okay. So we need to add home. We need to add home. What are they? Why? And company info. So we'll come in here. We'll type in home. And then in our properties panel, we're going to click this unordered list. Let's see. We want to do home after sticky notes. But what? Let's see. Where's the? All right. So let's type in home right up here. And then let's click bullet list. Does everyone have the bullet before the logo? Okay, so in your code right here, what we want to do is take that image tag and move it outside of that UL. So we have nav, the image, UL, LI. You have nav, your image, UL, LI. So your design should look like this with Engen sticky notes and then a bullet list of home underneath it. Are we good? All right, if you're good, I'll come around and help everyone else. But just hit return and then type in all the what are they? You can just go over there and hit return and keep typing. So this still needs to go. Is this the logo? Oh wait, what's this bottom?
Never mind, that's
Something different. That should be in the header. That should be here. This. You're gonna have to reposition the bottom image. Yeah. The folder. We did the entire. You did it. Bottom image. That thing. You just have to move it in. So inside of your header. Yeah, like right above that div tag you just did. Yeah, right there. Insert image. Bottom image. There you go. And then you just have to give it an ID, just like we did with the other thing, and then move it down.
How you doing?
You want to go back?
No, my goal is to draw. Because I'm not with my hand. Yeah.
Just say
I don't know what else. Have to take a year off or something.
So we have UL, LI, home, LI, what are they? LIY, LI company info, and it should all be inside of your nav. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take these list items, and we're going to want to get rid of the bullet decorations, and we want to float them all to the left of each other, so they're all instead of vertical, they're all horizontal. So we'll open up our CSS designer. We're going to add a new selector. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be targeting the nav, unordered list items. We're going to go to float left. So they're all floating to the left. So nav ul space li. So nav space ul space li. We're going to float left. We're going to go to list style type, and we're going to do none. So under nav space ul space li, we have float left, list style type none. So if we were to look at this in live view, you're not going to see it right now, but your text items are stacked right next to each other. They're just row down. So what we're going to have to do is give this nav image a float left as well. So this way our text can be bumped up. So let's go to add selector, and let's type in nav space img. Nav space img. And let's float that left as well. So nav space img, float it left, and then what you should see in live view now is that it gets bumped up. And then what we're going to do while we're still on nav img, we're going to add a margin on the right, so we push our text over. And then you can do the same with the nav ul li, so we can separate our navigation. We're going to add, we'll add like 50 pixels on margin right. so we can separate them. So we have nav space IMG, which we have a margin right of 40, and we floated it left, which brought up our navigation. We have a nav ULLI, which has a margin right of 50, which basically separated our text. And then we did a list style none, and then we floated that left. Now go to live view to make sure you're seeing stuff correctly. If you're in design view, it's going to look like this, where the text is kind of in 2 lines. But when you go to live view, you should see it more accurate. Everyone good? Okay. So now what we need to do is make these links. So I'm just going to highlight home. If you're in live view, you can highlight home if you're in live view. Click on this hyperlink and then just type in index.html. Do the same thing for what are they. Highlight it. Click the link. What.html. Highlight y.html. And then highlight company info or info.html. Okay, so once we've done this, our text is turned blue with the hyperlink. So we need to modify this. So what we need to do is we need to go in and we need to add a new selector for each of these. So I'm going to click on home. I'll click on add selector. And what we want is something that says nav space UL, nav space UL space LI space A. So we're saying modify the active link inside of this list item, which lives in this unordered list, which lives inside of the nav. So nav space UL space LI space A.
Would that work the same if you just didn't have
Yeah, that would work too. It's basically saying any active link inside of A. The only problem is if like the logo had a link on it, it would also impact that. So this is specifying the list items. But yes, that would work. Okay, so nav ULL, we want to go to our text, get rid of the text decoration, change the color to a gray. So under the T, gray, text decoration none. So text decoration none, and then gray. That's all I did. Now if I want to modify the rollover, so the rollover turns into, we'll say this pink right here, what I need to do is I need to create another selector, and it's going to be the exact same thing, nav space UL space LI space A, except we're going to add the pseudocode of
hover.
hover. Yes, so we're going to do colon and then hover. And then now what we can do is we can change this code so it will turn it pink when you roll over it. So when you're done changing it to the pink, you can do a save all. You can preview it in Chrome. And hopefully what you have is a site that has the rollovers. We have rollovers here. We have an actual text. We have rollovers down here, or links. All right, is everyone good?
My hover is not working.
Yeah, same.
Hover's not working. You have to do colon hover. So it's a colon hover. A colon hover.
No space.
No spaces.
That would be
A colon hover, no
Oh,
space.
yeah.